There we go. Hey everybody, I'm back. Today I figured we'd work on a recipe from my grandmother, and it comes with a story. Because before I ever made this recipe, I learned how to do it right from a story my grandpa told me. Back in his days in the army, he decided he was going to make him a cherry pie. And when it came to making the crust, he worked the dough, and he worked it, and he worked it, and he worked it, and he figured this is going to be so tender, so flaky. It came out hard as a rock. That's how I learned with bread dough, you want to work it to death. You can really release your frustrations on bread dough because you want to develop that gluten. With pastry dough, such as biscuits and pie crust, you want to leave it alone. Do not develop that gluten. So today we're going to work on pie crust. And just the crust. I'm not going to be rolling it out, filling it, anything. That's up to you. There will be a recipe in the description, as well as instructions. So this is just to show how things are best done. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of butter. This is 3 sticks. And I'll have to adjust the camera. Oh, that's my cat again. Yes. Hi. So I'm going to adjust my camera a bit. Don't mind me. Adjust the mixer. And grab a spatula here. I've got this all cut up into cubes to make it easier. You want to soften it first, just a little bit. I've got it down on low to soften the butter. If you put it on high, it could splatter everywhere. I don't know. I don't want to risk it. Maybe a little higher. Okay. Maybe start on low and move it up. I don't know. Okay. I got it slightly softened. You don't want to soften it too much because then it could start to melt. And you want the butter to be solid throughout the process. You don't want the butter to melt until it starts to bake. So to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. This is iodized salt because reasons. If you can't do the iodine thing, don't do the iodine thing, but it takes about 1 teaspoon of salt. We're also going to put in our flour before we add any wet ingredients. And the reason for this is we need to coat the flour granules with fat. That'll help prevent the formation of gluten. So you mix the flour with the fat until you get this kind of a grainy, a grainy texture to it, which I'll show you. I'm just going to go a little bit at a time though, because flour will fly. You can also do this in your food processor if you want to. If you have one, you don't have to do this part in the stand mixer. Everybody in the pool. All right, I'll show you what this looks like so far. What am I stepping on? Oh, my cat's water dish. So that's what it looks like. It's kind of grainy. You can kind of press it together with your fingers to form a ball. But it's also really dry at this point. Next, you wouldn't think this would be an ingredient. They don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. You need vinegar. I'm using white distilled. Technically, in my opinion, the best to use is apple cider vinegar, but I don't have any. So any kind of vinegar you're comfortable cooking with is great. It'll work. Rice vinegar, um, pardon me. I don't think balsamic would work very well for this. Just whatever you're comfortable with. We need 1 tablespoon. We also have 1 egg. And the recipe calls for up to 5 tablespoons of ice cold water. Now it depends on the weather in your area. If you're in a rather arid location, go for all 5. If you're in a really humid, muggy location, I recommend 2 to 3. Basically, you need just enough to bring it together so that it can form into a ball. I've got the ice water right here, ice included. We're going to start with 3 tablespoons because it's been kind of muggy lately. So, 1, 2, 4, no, 3. If you get that reference, brownie points. We're going to mix it on low just until it comes together and no further. Again, the point is to leave it alone. So I'm just going to move some stuff out of the way because we're going to use this surface to form our dough. See how it's just sticking together? Kind of like cookie dough. A little bit drier than cookie dough. It's a little bit of egg there, but we can work that in. Clean as much of this off the paddle as you can. And by the way, I'm using a dough paddle. I find that that is easier than using the whisk or the bread hook attachment for softening up the butter and combining the ingredients for something like this. Everything has its purpose. So put that away. Now we're going to flour our surface liberally. I'm going to turn this. Put that down like that. Oh, that's the book that this is balanced on. So we're going to flour our surface liberally. Hands too, because this stuff will stick. Just going to scrape down the sides a bit. And we're going to roll it out onto the floured surface. Oh, that was weird. Okay. And yeah, it's going to make a little mess. Cooking does that. So what we're going to do, we're going to just form it up into a ball. A little bit of butter there that didn't quite get worked in well, but that's fine. That's actually kind of a good thing. Basically, you work with it just enough to bring it together and you leave it alone. Okay? I know you want to play with it. It's fun to play with. But once it comes together, leave it alone. See? Done. Now, I'm going to cover that with plastic wrap and pop it in the refrigerator. The purpose of this, again, is to keep that butter solid. So give it about an hour. After that, you can roll it out. For a pie, this will make one heel, one cap for one pie, or two heels for two pies. So like if you're making an apple pie, it'll be a heel and cap for that. But if you're making a pumpkin pie, you can make two pumpkin pies with this because pumpkin pies don't have a cap on them. Right. So it makes one heel, one cap, and a little extra, which I like to do. When you trim off the edges, there's a little bit extra left that you can roll out and make a snack out of it. Personally, I like to sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on the top and pop it in the oven with the pie. For a pie, you want to bake it for 15 minutes at 425 and then knock it back to 350 and bake for 45 minutes for a fruit pie. For a pumpkin pie, 45 minutes to an hour on 350 is what does it. I think I'll just make tarts with these later, but that's something else. This is for pie crust alone. So, without further ado, I will get this in the refrigerator. Feel free to like and subscribe and share it if you like. Let me know what you think of this video, and give me a shout out if there's something you want me to, if there's something you want to see me do on a video. Everybody have a good day.